Yesterday was the first day in full pads for the Red Raiders. Who stood out and who is going to win this left tackle battle for Texas Tech? Seems like it might be a two-horse race. Plus, we'll discuss other camp standouts and a guy on the defensive line that is just eager to take over a starting spot. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. And listen, we've talked a lot about the offensive line on this channel, and we will continue to do so because, let's face it, if they're not good and they don't keep Baron Morton upright, Texas Tech ceiling, well, it falls dramatically, right? So I want to hear from you guys down on the pinned comment below. Just a simple why for yes or in for no. Do you think the Texas Tech offensive line will be better in 2024? I think a lot goes into this. We'll discuss some of those guys that are kind of rising through the ranks, i.e. the depth chart in terms of not only spring and fall camp for the Red Raiders in today's video, but just gut reaction, feel from what you've heard here on the podcast, maybe what you've read, what you've heard from other podcasts even about the Texas Tech offensive line. Just let me know with a simple why for yes or in for no down on the pinned comment below. All right, let's jump into this because Joey McGuire had a press conference yesterday on his birthday, 806. Head ball coach, 806 birthday. I mean, it just worked out really, really well if you're a Texas Tech fan there. But we're going to start with the defensive notes that the head ball coach had for his press conference on his birthday. As I mentioned, it was the first day of full pads for the Red Raiders yesterday. No shock. That usually comes in about a week or so, 6 to 8 days into fall camp, trying to ramp those guys up, right? The name that we've mentioned here on the channel in terms of a guy that you need to know about on the defensive line because he's not only showed out in spring ball, but now starting fall camp as well is D tackle Jayden Cofield. And the reason you need to know about him is this. He actually went into fall camp and really the spring as well as a nose tackle. There's one issue, though. There is one solidified position on the Texas Tech defensive line, and that is the nose tackle position because that's where Quincy Ledet Jr. plays, fifth-year senior there. How good has Jayden Cofield been? They're moving him to D tackle, it looks like. At least that could be a strong possibility with how great he has been so far this calendar year in terms of workout, practices, and everything in between. McGuire described the D tackle as dominant in situational live portions of practice. He also went on to say, at least hint at it, Jayden Cofield would likely be the starting defensive tackle alongside the aforementioned Quincy Ledet Jr. if the season started today. Elsewhere on the defense, one of the bigger position battles, not only on defense, but really the whole Texas Tech roster in fall camp is that of the star position between Baylor transfer McCarty, who sat out last year due to transfer rules, and then Brendan Jordan, the sophomore. As of right now, according to McGuire, McCarty has stood out at star in a battle between him and Brendan Jordan. Does that mean that this battle is wrapped up? No, I think I'm going to stick with my initial really feel for this and the intel I get from people with boots on the ground. I think this could be one of those things where this lingers into the season because both McCarty and Brendan Jordan are really good football players. And I think this is one of those situations where you want them to be involved because of how good they are, and you will find ways to put them on the football field. That's what I think is going to happen. So you're going to see, I feel like, a little bit of a shift, almost like a line change in hockey where one series could be Jordan's, the next one could be so on and so forth. But I think that that's going to be a very interesting battle until game number 1 against ACU to see who actually starts game number 1 for the Red Raiders. A positive development for the defensive line is that of field boundary or edge Isaac Smith. He's coming back from a knee injury. He's been out for the past really about year and a half, because if you remember, he sustained a knee injury not this past spring, but the spring before that and missed the 2023 season. He looks to be back in really good shape and has the potential to really be an impact player on the defensive line edge for the Red Raiders. Now, on the injury front, we've got news on DT Trayvon McAlpine, who has an ankle sprain. He will be out for 1 week, according to Joey McGuire. So he'll get back in there and should have plenty of time to be in that DT and really deep DT D-line rotation that could go 6-7 guys going into week 1 against the Wildcats. Now, before we get into the offensive notes real quick, just a reminder, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends about it. We're going to be doing live streams here, film breakdowns. We'll have long-form podcasts with the guy that has the second most receiving touchdowns in Texas Tech football program history, and Lyle Leong Jr. We'll have daily updates. And the best part about this channel, outside of it being the most interactive YouTube channel for Texas Tech fans and the largest, is it's free. We're giving you free daily videos on everything Texas Tech football and men's basketball, from the media side of things, but also the content creator, fan side of things. I'm a fan just like you guys. I love interacting and talking about the scarlet and black on the gridiron, on the hardwood, and everything in between. So if you want to join this special community here on YouTube, just do 3 simple things for me. Like the video, hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, tell 5 to 10 of your friends. Let's make this an even better place for Red Raiders to enjoy content. All right, offensive notes. We will start with the wide receivers. There are 3 that you need to know about that Joey McGuire described as quote-unquote dominant: Coy Aiken, Caleb Douglas, and Josh Kelly. No surprise on the Coy Aiken front. Him and Baron Morton have shown that rapport. It is great to hear the fact that 2 guys that transferred in, yes, they went through spring camp, but Caleb Douglas and Josh Kelly are hitting the ground running and really making their impact known on a position group that, again, I've said it multiple times here on the channel already. The wide receivers weren't good last year outside of Coy Aiken, right? They just weren't good. It's good to see these guys that were highly touted, that one came from an SEC school in Caleb Douglas, who was starting at Florida before he sustained a leg injury, and then arguably one of the best wide receivers in the Pac-12 last year from Washington State, RIP, shout out to the Pac-2. Josh Kelly now in the 806. Funny enough, he will play his former school in week 2. Will Josh Kelly up in Pullman. Now, 2 other playmakers that are new to the Red Raiders in terms of one from the transfer portal, one from the high school ranks. Joey McGuire mentioned that Micah Hudson and Jalen Conyers struggled the first couple of days of camp, but hey, they were out during spring ball. I think that that's realistic to think, right? Like, you got to find a little bit of a groove there, right? So that's understandable, but they are getting up to speed now and showing those flashes of being dangerous playmakers in the passing attack. And hey, could be even in the Wildcat if you listen to Joey McGuire when it comes to Jalen Conyers. Now, we talked about some of these younger guys that I'm about to bring up here in previous videos this past spring and even before the bowl game. But Kelby Volson and then Dalton Merriman. Dalton Merriman actually is a junior, so not a young guy. But Kelby Volson has really stood out in Texas Tech, according to Jacob Harris and people that he talks to over at the Scarlet and Black Insider, has said they're having a hard time keeping him off the field. And that is huge for Texas Tech because I think he is a young, dynamic wide receiver, the red shirt wide receiver, Kelby Volson. Now, on the Dalton Merriman front, he's been running with the ones, and this may be hot takey, but there's a legit battle here, and Dalton Merriman could win it at the left tackle spot. Now, I want to make sure I get this guy's name right because apparently I have been mispronouncing it, according to Joey McGuire. Sterling Porsche, not Porcher, Sterling Porsche, the Middle Tennessee State transfer left tackle. He has been injured. And Dalton Merriman, a guy that started at Tarleton State, went to Blaine College, then went to Texas Tech, really didn't play too much last year, has a real chance to be the starting left tackle for the Red Raiders when they kick off on August 31st against Abilene Christian. Okay, that's the big news. Another aspect of this is you're starting to see the wave of younger guys in terms of the offensive line getting a lot of talk, right? In terms of they're being really good in fall camp and even in spring camp. One of the other guys that really is getting a lot of love from the coaches is true freshman Jacob Patan, and he's been running with the 2s at left tackle. That's something you don't see too often. He's 6'9", 280. Don't be surprised if he gets up to 6'9", 310, but he's athletic enough to be a left tackle. And again, did I mention he is a true freshman, another true freshman that is standing out, and a guy that if you ask me right now, hey, RC, project who's RB2 going into week number 1, it's Cam Dickey. He's Taj Brooks 2.0, just a mini-me of Taj Brooks. Not so many after all. I mean, he's what, 5'10", 220, 210 in that range is Cam Dickey. He's an absolute stud. Now, I did mention that Dalton Merriman is in the really good spot to potentially be LT1 in week number 1 against Sterling Porsche in terms of that left tackle battle. Well, he's been the most improved player of the spring, according to Joey McGuire, and it's no shock there that he's in this left tackle battle, and it is heating up because, again, Porsche has that hamstring injury. He's missing some time. You're getting to see other guys get reps there against the ones, and that is valuable for a guy like Dalton Merriman. I mean, worst case scenario, right? Let's think about it from this perspective. Let's say Porsche actually wins the job. You now feel comfortable with these reports and what you've seen through fall camp, according to Joey McGuire, with a backup at left tackle. And when is the last time that you have felt comfortable with a backup left tackle at Texas Tech? I'll give you a minute. The answer should be really quick. A while. That was the answer I was looking for. And then at right tackle, you've got Ty Buchanan and then Jackson Hughes, the South Carolina transfer. Jackson Hughes was actually set to start on the Gamecocks offensive line, but sustained a multitude of injuries. Now, one last positive before we head out of here. And again, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button, and tell 5, 10 of your friends in terms of, well, hey, let's make this one of the most enjoyable places to consume Texas Tech content on the internet. Over 10,000 people already agree that it is, so you might as well join as well. This one is about 5-star wide receiver Micah Hudson. Again, positive news here on this front. According to Joey McGuire, Micah Hudson is usually one of the first in the building, is taking coaching very well. I know there's going to be people in the comments that stick around for this and be like, yeah, he's a football player. He should be taking coaching very well. You would be shocked to hear at how many 5-stars across the country have a terrible attitude and don't take coaching very well. You'd be shocked about that. It is good to hear this, even if it's very early in the process for Micah Hudson, that he's taking coaching very well. He's going at this with an aggressive mindset, with almost like a job man-like mentality, right? And he's being aggressive coming back from that knee injury that he had in spring ball. So again, big time stuff there. One more time before we head out of here. Do you think the Texas Tech offensive line will be better in 2024? Just simple Y for yes or in for no. Let me know down on the pinned comment. A little bit longer of a video there, but hopefully that was some good information for you guys. I've seen you guys like the videos and y'all want more of these camp notes and standouts. I appreciate that. We've got you covered right here on the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube, almost doubling what anybody else has on here. So join today by doing these 3 simple steps: liking the video, hitting that subscribe button, and turning on that notification bell.